Like as you see me, Fred, I'm willing to have good discussions with anyone if they can have a motive
Everyone
of
would
respect.
say that. I mean,
If
no one's
I
going to
come
deny
to you,
that
Fred,
fact.
He's just repeating himself for the third time.
Who is he?
It's the same thing. That's what he does, repeat himself.
What's his name?
He's 800 Hamza.
Oh wait, is this the guy who was using pseudo-philosophy?
Yeah.
Can I run the composition argument? I just want to see.
I was gonna do the same thing, but if you want to, okay, you know what?
And he
You know what?
failed to answer,
All right.
which was fine. If you don't know, it's fine.
Yo, can I talk to you?
Give me, go and make an argument. Is it discussion or is it debate?
It will be a debate.
It will be a debate. So I'll give you, what's the topic, I'll give you a time. Let's not what's your name?
Just call me Bob.
Bob. Okay, so if we're not going to pretend it's a discussion, can I have a table? Is that alright?
No, there's no real need. There's no need to dramatize what we're doing here.
Oh, you think
so? They don't.
No, wait.
Yeah.
You think I'm dramatizing if I'm asking for a table?
I mean, that's just an accusation. Just
that's an accusation.
Yeah,
that's
of course.
Right. Yeah. So there's no goodwill. I have bad back anyway, so you don't know my situation. That's why
Good.
I lean on things.
So
Yeah?
the subject is just going to be why I believe the composition of Allah is just going to remove the possibility that Allah is the first act, therefore necessitating that Allah, or rather the Sunni conception of Allah, cannot be God.
Okay, no problem. So you're coming, let me understand your position. You're coming from a classical atheist point of view?
Well, no, I mean...
You're not a Jack in Box, for example,
I
so
mean,
you can't hold
none of this critique is going to necessitate an assumption of theism, rather just an assumption of mereology. So, firstly, a clarifying question, may I?
No, don't go jump into the debate. Let's sort out what constraints of the debate. 1 second, let me speak.
Yeah.
We take turns, obviously. It's like let's get the constraints of the debate sorted before you jump into the topic.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to only limit it just to that. I'm also going to talk about your position or your belief.
Well,
1 second.
Yes.
Because I don't believe you're a jack in the box. You have a belief. If you want to talk to me as a Muslim, that's fine. But I have to equally be able to critique your
Do you
position.
believe that Islam, of its own merits, can prove itself to be true and have no logical contradictions?
I do, yeah, I do. In the same way that you assumingly do as well.
Okay, so let's focus in on Islam first. Then I promise you, for whatever is the result about our discussion about Islam, we will then talk about Christianity. Okay. Why? Because my critique has no assumptions that my position is true, rather an assumption of mereology.
Okay, so before you proceed, you still haven't explained, do you hold to classical theism?
Yeah, I'm a classical theist.
Now, you are classical
yes.
theist.
Now, what do you think classical theism means?
Well, it's a model of God. It's a model.
But what model of classical theism are we talking about?
As opposed to, I'll give you a second. Yeah? As opposed to pantheism or open theism or other models of God.
What model of classical theism are you talking about?
I'm answering your question. Calm down, Bob. Calm down. So, what makes his model of God different to the other models of God, like open theism and pantheism, pantheism, etc. So, there's usually 4 defining things that makes his model different to all the other ones. One is divine simplicity. Divine simplicity. David.
Hamza, you're talking to him, not me. Now, if you're talking to Hamza, we can talk. But if not, just look away and stare at him. Thank you.
So,
No, I was just explaining.
That's just being apathetic. That's just saying that.
I was just explaining your question.
You continue to explain. Don't be apathetic though. Don't say that classical theism is not pantheism. Rather, say what model of classical theism you're pointing to and say what it is.
Okay, I'm telling you because I don't know what is you believe. That's why I'm asking you. But I think all right. I'm doing so far and delineating what classical theism is. Just have some patience.
So far.
Yeah, so far. So I could keep on talking anyway. So there are people like classical theism. It starts with, let's say, for example, the ideas of Parmenides and goes on to today's day. The major thinkers in this, like Bohius, excuse my pronunciation of them, most recently, or for you guys anyway, Thomas Aquinas.
You think I'm a Thomas?
No, I don't know. That's why I need to ask. It's not funny. We haven't made a joke yet. But if I'm asking, it shouldn't be funny. So yeah, you got Thomas. So anyway, classical theism usually distinguishes itself from other models of God in that it is simple, divine simplicity, which usually says that God has no parts, passions, or he's not affected So he himself cannot love.
Wait,
No, you explain- ask me to
wait,
explain.
hold on. So I just want to correct your
asked-
definition. You're not giving me a definition of classical theism. And in fact, the examples that you've given of instances of classical theism is incorrect. So for example, traditionally Sunni Muslims have either been neo or classical theists themselves. Not holding,
Neo-Platonists, not
no,
classical
neoclassical theists. Do you know what a neoclassical theist is?
I know what neoclassics
Yes,
is,
and
like Ryan
some,
Mullins.
and
But
some,
so done,
and
none
some.
of them have been like him. You made that accusation or that charge. Which
No, some
group?
people
Which
can.
group? Which group? Give me a group.
Well,
was it the Jahmiyyah, the Mu'tazila, the Ash'ari, who?
Well, I'm
you just
totally
made that
unclear.
up.
I'm not okay.
Anyway,
I'm not
so you
making
see-
things up. Now let's continue
No,
with
no,
that.
would you like me to finish the
wait. You've just
first
said
question?
you've just said Sunni
You asked me
Muslims.
a question.
You just said that Sunni Muslims are classical theists, right? Do you agree?
No, I never said that.
Well, what are they?
I never said that. You said that they're neoclassical.
No, I said that
theists. And
either-
I
said that either
group of
neo-
the Muslims are neoclassical theists. It's on
Okay,
camera. Bob, stop interrupting.
are they classical
Bob,
theists?
You know, in court, you're not allowed to ask compound questions. That's because you take the conversation here and there.
Okay,
So
just
ask me a
continue with your
question,
definition.
Allow me to finish, yeah? So there's 4 defining factors of
Yeah.
classical theism, which is a model of God, as opposed to the other model of God. Divine simplicity. God has no parts, no passions, no composition, no distinctions, no divisions, no complexities in him. He knows this, right? That's why he's not stopped me. The other one is that he's impassible. That means that nothing can affect him. His emotions aren't affected by you, nor does he respond to your emotions. So, for example, if I were to pray to God, impassibility means he's not affected by my prayer. So God, for the classical theist, is impassible. Another one is immutable. God does not change in any circumstances. This is taken from the Platonic assumption that change is bad. But again, you have to prove that point, which I hope Bob does so in this conversation, because some things are value neutral. If I face this way and that way, not much value has been changed. So not all things are value positive or value negative. So again, if he wants to push the argument of classical theism, which we'll see, he will have to explain immutability, how a loving God how an impassible God can love, and a whole load of questions that we'll see in this discussion. So I've mentioned 3 things: simplicity, impassibility, immutability, and timelessness. Now, if I remember correctly, the timelessness for you is the idea of presentism, meaning that the past does not exist, and I know this is heavy on language. Guys.
By the way, that's not classical theists can hold to B theory of time. You do understand that, right?
So
So 2 things. Okay, so far what you've demonstrated to me is that you're either not read any literature on classical theism, which I will never claim, or you cannot give a proper definition. You understand that definitions are not examples. That's my first
So
point.
you asked me a
my
question,
second
though.
point,
One second,
I gave you. I'm
question.
going to give you a response
Yeah,
to
but
what you
I've
said.
never asked
I
you.
allowed.
Yeah,
Okay,
but one second.
I condemn myself for interrupting you, but
I will.
hold on.
I'll
I let
let
you
you.
respond. I'll let you respond. So you've given me examples as a form of definition, which is not sufficient in giving a definition for anything. Second of all, do you believe that someone can hold to classical theism whilst also denying?
Don't change the topic.
No. I'm
Engage with what
critiquing.
I said.
I'm critiquing your definition. So you're
You said you're gonna engage with
your
what I said.
definition, which again is not a definition. It's examples given
So what is the
positively towards.
definition? What's the
Okay, I'm asking you to
No,
because you're the one.
Oh, sorry, 1 second.
You're the
You don't
one.
have to-
You're the
you don't have to
one.
move
You're
so
the
fast.
one who accused. You're the one. You're.
He's just in my face.
You're the one who accused me of being a classical theist. I simply want to know what this means.
He said
Do-
I
do you
accused
wanna-
him. Did you accuse him or did I ask him?
Okay,
And
you
then
asked me.
And then
so
he answered. So
you
don't say I
you
accused
asked me,
him.
which assumes that you already know what you're speaking
No,
about, right?
I've asked you, and I've asked you. What did you say?
You said,
What
"Are you?"
did you say, Bob?
I said, "Can you define what that means?"
What did you say before
You said,
that? No, you
"Are
said
you a
hold
classical
to
theist?"
classical theism.
I said, "What is
Bob,
that?"
it's
And
on camera.
firstly,
Are you okay? I'll ask you again.
Okay.
Are you a classical theist?
Yes. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Because what
Okay.
can you allow me to respond? So you've given 4 examples positively towards a definition of the word. Now, firstly, that's not a definition. That is just examples positively
It's a description,
towards.
Bob.
Yeah, it's a description. That's not a
So
definition.
what do you
Now-
want particularly? Give them.
I
if
want
I'm
an
wrong,
actual definition. Now, your examples given within your so-called definition fall short of what actually it means. For example, you can be a classical
Just tell
theist.
the people what
you
it is.
can,
If you feel my
you can
definition, I say
hold.
it's a model of God.
No, can you
as
stop
opposed-
interrupting me?
No, just tell the people
No,
what it is.
can you stop interrupting me?
Okay, go
I've
on.
got a question.
You're right.
Do you believe?
No, don't ask questions. Don't jump.
It's a
don't
no,
jump.
I'm
don't jump.
critiquing.
No, if I'm
My
not giving
goodness,
the
this guy's
definition-
rhetoric's crap.
Bob, okay, good as crap.
No.
No.
If my definition is wrong, yeah, then he has to tell me why I'm wrong. Is that fair, guys? Is that fair? Is that fair?
Can you hold to classical theism whilst also not supporting?
Don't change, Bob. If
It's
my
not.
definition
I
is
critique.
wrong,
I'm critiquing,
then answer
buddy.
what the question.
Buddy,
the
this is
definition
going
of
to be
classical theism
the
is.
dichotomy of a successful discussion. Either I'm able to critique the definition that you gave of the word, or rather we pass on and we just concede to your definition, and I continue to my argument because
I'm asking you to engage in what we say.
Of course, and I'm
monologue.
engaging,
So
with the examples that you've given. So my class.
Let me speak.
Yeah. So can I
It's
hold
not good when
to?
us speaking over each other, right?
Yeah, which you've done consistently. So if you do that again, I interrupt you.
I'm trying to get into the crux of
So
the
if
discussion.
you interrupt me
ask
again, I will
Bob,
interrupt you.
Okay, that's fair. If you ask me a question and I give you an answer, it's only feasible or reasonable that you also engage what I say.
Of course, and
If I
I'm
think-
engaging in the
what's
examples that
you
you've
said
given
you're
me.
not going to interrupt. If I answer your question, which I feel I have, I told you exactly what the model of God is. I've told you that classical theism is one of them as opposed to what it isn't. I also give you 4 defining factors of classical theism: simplicity, immutability, impassibility, and I explained all of them, and timelessness. But he says, this is not sufficient. Now, if you have something specific in mind, remember, you have to make sure that your question is robust enough for us to understand it, not say afterwards and move the goalposts and shift it and say, that's not sufficient. Make sure your question is robust, and then maybe I can answer it. But if you say my definition is wrong, please entertain us and tell us what is the definition.
Okay, so I'm going to respond with examples you've given and saying and demonstrating that it's not a sufficient definition of what classical theism is. So firstly, you can hold to the position of classical theism whilst also denying that God is divinely simple, i.e. all of the attributes within X is identical to X itself. Secondly, classical theists, even within the Christian tradition, held to B theory, that time is eternal, tenseless, but semantically intensed propositions. So 2 of the examples aren't even applicable to classical theism. You can hold to contrary positions.
Yeah, everything?
Yep.
Okay. So listen to what he said. For classical theism, he said 2 of the 4 things I mentioned are not applicable. And he used all of this jargon thinking I would not understand it. And he said time, for example. Time, because I said usually they hold to that idea of presentism. That's the majority of them. There's 2 theories on time.
It's not an intrinsic property,
Sorry, let me just finish. So there's 2 theories of time. One is that time is universal, absolute, that it runs its course. The second definition,
University of Cambridge Press.
Yeah.
Classical theism is unique among models of God in that it affirms 4 core.
Wait, by the way,
pieces.
if you're going to interrupt, can my friend
I'm
David...
just affirming it.
Wait,
So
so by the way...
Yeah, you can get support. No
Yo,
problem.
David, my boy, he's interrupted. Stand there.
Okay, sorry.
Come on.
Well, no, I think it's fair. So
If you come in again, I'm coming in. Simple
No,
as
he's
that.
giving me this, please. He's giving. Is there a reason you stand so close to me? Give me space.
I'm as...
You're weird. You're blocking the views. Let's act human.
Okay, so...
I'm here to put pressure.
Don't be a hypocrite.
You said 2 things.
Yes.
Are challenged of the 4 things.
Yes.
So,
Do you agree firstly?
Let me.
Uncle, please.
That's what
Him?
I'm saying.
So do you agree
Tell
that
him to
classical...
stop, tell him to
So
stop.
my question was, do you
No,
believe...
Bob, tell him to stop.
Well, tell him to stop.
Okay, he's only passed me.
Condemn him.
Bob, he's only passed me.
Do you want to condemn him?
Bob, don't act.
Do you want to condemn him?
Let's have a conversation. I'm not condemning someone.
Okay, a
It's not-
conversation which is
what am
going
I
to be
supposed to
one-on-one.
anathema? Oh, you this and that. I condemn you.
There you are.
Anyway, so silly. Anyway, the definition of classical theism, according to Cambridge.
Oh, damn, he needs help. Okay, crazy. He doesn't know what it is. He needs help. Oh, man.
No, I'm just confirming what he said.
Well, no,
See,
I
again,
just
he's
think 2 of
interrupting.
the
No,
examples.
don't quiet him. Condemn him.
Well, he's just
Condemn
interrupted him.
Condemn
just
him like you
interrupted
said
him.
you can to me.
Because it was
to
the source that he
See,
gave.
you can't do it.
If you got
can't
it wrong,
do
I would say he's wrong.
Okay,
so
go
now,
for it.
Anyway, this is Cambridge
I'm passing.
confirming exactly what I said.
Yes.
It says, according to the doctrine of divine simplicity, God has no physical, metaphysical, or logical parts. What I said exactly. Instead, God's essence is His existence, right? He lacks accidents. In the
Sure, I'll
this
say.
is all everything I said. Yeah. Where's the part where it says the 4 things? Yeah. Where's the part where it says the 4?
Yeah. The 4 things. The seat. Yeah. Time.
So I mentioned there was 4 things. You lot heard
simplicity.
me. And he said
so
no.
just remember this. Yeah. The
No,
acronym
I'll
seat.
say it so it doesn't.
Simplicity,
Where?
immutability, impassibility. Yeah, there you go. It's here. Look. Timelessness. There you go.
That's so he said I'm wrong.
Now
this.
check Google. Just for you. Hey,
No, no, it's fine. That's fine.
So-
That's fine. No, no, let me. No,
Given-
no, it's my time.
given-
It's my time.
given this
No,
definition.
I'm not letting you run.
Okay.
He said I was wrong with this definition. He challenged 2 of the 4 definitions I gave for this word, and he's running. He said that he challenged,
Not
and I'll
running.
get back to his challenge afterwards. Yeah, but you can't act arrogant. I don't mind if he doesn't know. I don't know many things. I don't
Stop
mind
playing
if I
for the
don't know.
camera and get back to the point.
Are you going to condemn him again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Keep style.
So now, David, if you, I'm not going. Can you tell
Listen
him
to
to
your
move back?
master.
Can you tell him to move
David,
back?
move
He's
back a
acting.
centimeter.
He doesn't know how to behave.
Okay, can I get a ruler? It's just to measure it out.
Yeah.
No, you got a ruler?
So,
No, no, no. He has to
Okay.
move.
I-
We have to have a decent
given the
discussion.
definition, I'm not a classical theist.
Take a woman behind you, man.
How's your day going? Okay?
Given the definition, then I'm not a classical theist.
Yeah.
Given the definition, I'm no longer a classical
So
theist.
you're not actually arguing. You're
I'm
playing the
rude.
club.
So you didn't say no, no, come.
Play the crowd.
Given the definition, I'm not a classical theist because I. Hamza, let's go back. Let's go back to the discussion. Yeah, let's resume.
Why me? Okay, are you timing it?
Can you
don't matter.
look? Can you just tell him to move back? It's simple.
Okay, can he move back then?
As long
Yeah,
as they're
yeah.
fine with it, then it's fine.
Okay.
Do you have a problem
Okay.
with it?
Now he said.
So, given the
he said,
definition,
"You're
I'm
not
not a
going to
classical
speak."
theist because I would believe that time is eternal.
I just think it was rude for him
He
to
said 2 of the
like
4 things were wrong.
Yes.
And he said, I didn't give a definition. I give you the definition,
Yes.
which is corroborated
Please
by
don't
Cambridge.
interrupt.
He says classical theism is unique amongst models of God. That it forms 4 core theses. 1 is divine simplicity, 2
Yes.
is timelessness, 3 is immutability, and 4 is impassibility. All is
where's your
exactly what I
theory of
said.
time?
Now he went on and said, no, that's not a sufficient one. If it's sufficient for him,
But it was not like in a dramatized. I apologize.
if it's, yeah.
Do you want to do a time discussion?
I think so, because it's about
Yes.
5
Let me
minutes.
finish first, and then you can take.
So 2 minutes each.
So he said 2 of them was wrong. He said my definition
Start the
was
timer.
wrong. If Cambridge say my definition is right, I'm bloody happy, mate.
Okay.
I'm not gonna take it from someone
So,
who's speaking
an appeal to
school now.
authority.
Look, is it interrupting again?
Yeah, he's
Rewind the time.
You should tell your subject to be quiet.
Rewind the
You're
time.
not allowed being fair.
Okay.
Rewind the time.
Well, he's speaking as
More
well.
than 2 minutes, so no. I'm not rewinding anything.
Okay. So after you're finished,
I'm not
we'll have
finished.
5 minutes.
You gave me 2 minutes.
Well, no, you've
so
been
you
going
give
for
me
longer
2
than 2
minutes, then you
minutes.
take the 2 minutes
Wait, so
away.
just to confirm, are we
Look
starting
at the time.
now?
Look at the time.
It's 20
You
seconds
started timing it.
Are we starting
You gave
now?
me 20 seconds, then you took away.
So YB, we're starting now, yeah?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, from now on, we're
Why
doing
is he
2
making
minutes.
time?
All right.
Rayhan,
2 minutes
So-
each
You
wanna
is
make
very fair.
terms?
But why is he making time?
Is 2 minutes not fair?
It
So he's
depends
given
on-
a fair.
anyway, the
So he's
point
given a fair
is,
suggestion.
I
I'm starting now.
immediately
I think
said
2
my
minutes-
definition
2
was
minutes is
wrong.
fair. 2 minutes is
I proved
2
my
minutes is fair.
definition was
Okay.
correct to the T.
No, we have to
Yeah?
apologize.
By Cambridge, I approved it. And later on, anyway, as we go, we're going to see some amazing stuff. What this definition of classical theism, what kind of God was absorbed into Christianity? Not all Christians. Most Christians would like to think of their God as someone who is interactive with them, dynamic with them, answers their prayers, responds to them, loves them. But the God of classical theism or philosophy is impassible. It cannot love you. He cannot respond to you. He is immutable. He cannot change. He can stop kissing your teeth. He cannot change. He cannot change in terms of his internal emotions to you. This is what's called impassibility. Now, I'll concede the rest of the time because he has to now prove here how my 4 points in the definition of divine simplicity
Yes.
is wrong because this was his claim.
Okay, so firstly, let's just move on from the definition.
let him
Given your
One second,
definition, which we'll concede is sufficient, I'm no longer a classical theist if you consider one of the intrinsic properties of classical theism just being the exception of a theory of time. If that's true, I'm no longer a classical theist. I may hold to the core tenets of classical theism, but you can call me some sort of neoclassical theist, whatever you may do. So firstly, I want to start with my critique. Given a formal argument of Allah, of course you would deny divine simplicity, that all of the attributes of X are identical to X itself. Now, given this supposition of what I hold to as parthood, being less than the whole itself, although you would say they're inseparable from the whole itself, being less than the whole itself, if Allah possesses attributes that are less than the whole themselves, that means He is composed of parts. Being composed rejects that He is the first act, because the first act would be the composition of Allah. therefore rejecting the possibility that God is the first principle to which we would establish through natural theology being sufficient in contingency. Now, your second point, being impassibility.
1 minute left.
So we would reject intrinsic change within God. But for example, through the doctrine of the ED, and again, you're not going to go on to critique this, rather you just mentioned this on my position. This is not the focus of discussion. So I want to make it very careful that you are supposed to address the first part of my argument, not the second. It's just a mentioning of my position because you slightly brought this up as a critique rhetorically. So, EED is the doctrine that through God's energies, which is formally distinct from God, he's able to dynamically interact with creation, right? And the energies are dynamic in a sense, but of course, God is immutable. Intrinsically, God cannot change. I can see the rest of my time.
Did anyone...
Tell me you're ready.
Did anyone understand anything that was said there?
Nothing, mate.
Now, this is meant to be a simple God. Now, okay, can you time it? Because I'm not having this. I'm not having this crossover. That's so cheap. Look, stop the time. Rayhan, stop it.
Why am I stopping
Look,
the time?
what are you doing? You can't do that when I'm speaking.
Handshake.
No, you can't. You don't have some etiquette.
Wait a second.
This
wait
is
a
not the
second.
first time.
You
No.
gave him the phone while
This
he was
is not the
speaking, and
first
I
time.
said the time. So
Don't
I'm not
point
doing
at me.
that.
Don't point at me like you're some
Pointing,
bad man.
pointing,
Calm yourself
pointing,
down.
pointing.
That's what I said. Look,
Pointing.
But there was
I
no
don't
time
believe
back
this
then.
Let's
guy
go
is a good
back.
Christian.
Okay,
I don't believe this.
let's
I
go
don't
back.
believe
My
this guy's a
hands,
good
Quiet.
Christian
my
anyway.
hands are in my
Quiet.
pockets. My hands are in my
Stop.
pockets.
Okay, now he's going to time it.
My
I don't need
hands
you to
are
time
in
it.
my
He's gonna
pockets.
time
Well,
it.
if he
And if he
times it, I will
interferes
time it.
again,
My hands are in
for
my
like the
pockets.
fourth or fifth time, he's scared. It's all right. I understand.
Handshake.
I was in his
Distracting
position.
time.
I'll be scared
Here's
as well.
what we'll
Yeah?
do then.
So right,
Here's what we'll
Rayhan
do.
is gonna know. Rayhan is gonna time it.
Rayhan can't do it
No,
because
no,
Rayhan is biased.
look,
So
look, this
I
is not
need
gonna go on.
somebody who is not a
You need to
Muslim
condemn
or a
him.
Christian at times.
It's not
for
gonna
handshaking.
Come on, this is
Okay.
I don't go in front
wait,
of you like this.
Let Frank do it.
He's
Frank,
let's
This
do
is
it.
how the
Let him
conversation
do, let's him do the
Yeah,
time.
the conversation.
Let him do the
Listen
time.
to what I'm saying.
He'll
The
time it.
conversation is not going to go forward.
Okay, my
if I
hands-
go like this to front of you.
Okay, my hands are in my pockets. My hands. Okay, I concede. Hubs, I was rude.
But
He's going
if
next.
he interrupts, this is like the fifth or sixth time he's interrupted.
Hands are in my pockets,
In
ladies
fact,
and
can you
gentlemen.
ask
I will
him
not
to
do
go
anything.
Interruptions should be
Ask him to
verbal.
go away, please. It's annoying me.
Nope.
No, he says
He's got the
no.
freedom.
He's kissing his teeth.
No, don't worry about that.
Are you gonna ask
David,
him to
go behind the camera.
I've asked Rayhan not to.
Behind the camera, I'm back. All right, cool, nice. I'm starting right now, yeah?
No, tell him to move on myself.
All right, go on. You start.
Okay, anyway, I don't think any of you understood anything, a lick of what it is that he's saying. So you have to break it down for the masses and speak to the people in the way that they understand it. This is supposed to be a simple understanding of God in his Christian worldview, not everyone's. His view, as he said, was classical theism, but now he says, oh, it might not be classical theism, it's neoclassical theism. So he's not making it clear as what it is. In the beginning, I say he's going to pretend to be a jack in the box, and that's exactly what he's saying. When I asked him afterwards, are you classical theist? He said, yes, I am. Be clear on your position so we can actually interact with what it is that you're saying. So I gave him the definition of the classical theism. 4 points. He said, no, it's not that. I backed it up with Cambridge's definition. He still hasn't interacted with that. So there's 4 defining points of divine simplicity. He then moved on to something completely irrelevant, which is the argument of composition, which I don't think anyone even understood what he was trying to say. He said mereologically there's parts. Who understands what it means by mereologically parts, apart from him and his cronies? Okay, give us the definition. I'll let you have time, Kwan. I'll get 10 seconds.
Do you want to stop this?
10 seconds. No, 10 seconds. I'll give you 10 seconds.
All right, go on.
What's mereologically parts?
Mereology is the study of how
Measure
parts
parts.
relate to a whole, simple and done.
Okay, that's not what mereologically parts is. That's not what parts is. So you see, he's the only one that puts
That's the
hands up. He
study.
doesn't know
You
it.
asked me to
No,
describe mereology. I did so.
Stop.
Simple. Mereology.
No, go back 5 seconds.
You don't believe me? Google it. It's not my
I asked him what mereological parts is.
Yeah,
He gave
not
mereology.
mereology.
So
Correct,
again,
yeah,
he keeps disturbing. So he doesn't know what it
I'm
means.
starting the timer. You got
So
30
anyway,
seconds.
so parts, mereological parts, yeah, one, it doesn't involve concrete thing, abstract things. Like for example, if someone is merciful, mercy is not encompassed by mereological parts because mereological parts do not deal with abstract components. So again, he has to take his argument off the ground in order to say that God Again, see, this.
I'm asking for some gum.
You know what? One more time, I will stop this discussion.
You're running away because you're scared.
Yeah, call it running away. But if you agree with something, you can't do that. You can't do that.
He's running away because he's scared.
That's the second time
You're
he's
running
put his
because
hand
you can't
over me.
answer. That's what you're doing.
And no one's asked you.
You're looking for any reason to
You
run.
ran yesterday, so no one's asked you.
I stood where I was and you all ran away after.
You know, it's time anyway.
Well,
No, because it disrupts his train of thought.
But I'm being fair. I'm
Because
telling
he
you.
can't
I mean,
do anything.
there's been like
He's
5 people speak over me. I've stayed perfectly quiet and contempt, and
At
I've
this
been
point,
able
no one did.
Giving someone gonna say interruption.
I've stayed-
Muslims have to be just.
Yeah, and I've been just. I've been very quiet.
Until now.
Yeah, I
asked
gave him
the
10
question,
seconds,
yeah.
right? And he answered wrong. It was
Yeah,
that
could have
simple.
you.
Hurry up, man! I asked for gum. Let's just
of course,
continue.
Emma,
Let's
so-
continue.
So he hasn't
you have
lifted-
Flail.
Do you know what, Hamza? Do you know what, Hamza? Just stand in between. That's it. We can't do it.
So anyway, yeah.
Oh,
he
you're that
has
close
a-
to me, alright?
No. Just stand there. Just stand there in the middle, in between.
He's trying.
No,
Wait, no,
he
wait.
can't
He
do
was
this.
fine.
Look,
Back
look,
up into
okay.
me.
It's up to you.
Can you not
He
see
has
this
to
is
move.
petty?
He has to move. He has to move.
As a 16-year-old, I see that this is incredibly petty.
I'm gonna debate
Okay.
you. Come.
Well, no, we're gonna stay
Come,
here.
no.
Okay.
He's not gonna stand there.
So we'll bring the camera.
All right.
Hamza, you was
Let's do a summary. Let's do a summary.
No, we'll talk.
He can't be involved.
So,
Yeah, yes, you can. So,
No, he can't be involved. Otherwise, I will involve
So-
Ryan.
I just want to quickly refute. So,
No,
you
do
saying
the
that
camera, do the
Allah's
camera.
attributes
No, do the camera.
are abstract descriptors.
Yeah, but David, you understand that.
Okay,
I know this.
so can we not?
This is
Can we
ridiculous.
not?
Stand next to him.
Listen, I'm 16.
I've got 10 minutes.
I'm 16 and I see how.
I've still got 10 seconds.
Bro, is everyone at this park just petty or something? I asked for some gum and you're saying.
That's you said you put your hands in the pocket. You interrupt me the
To
first
get
time.
gum.
Don't lie.
Now, you
get
did say
gum.
that. You did say that.
Exactly.
You
To
did say
get
that.
gum.
So
But you did say you're
I'm
gonna have your hands
fasting.
in
I can't consume a lot of things. I just need gum.
I've got 10 seconds anyway. I'll do that 10 seconds anyway. His argument of composition, which no one understands, wasn't lifted on the ground off the ground because he couldn't prove what parts mean. He needs to prove to us that I must follow this understanding of parts to suggest God is a composition
Time,
and then depends
time,
on his
time,
part.
time, time.
He hasn't
oh,
done
you
that.
did that?
I love you.
I love you
It was
too.
10 seconds.
I love
When you
you.
get back.
So,
Oh, I thought it was done. I thought it
so
was done.
firstly,
I'm about to start, yeah?
yeah, go for it. So firstly, his response to my account of merology is just faltered. So he said that Allah's attributes such as mercy is just abstract descriptors. He's holding to the account of merology that abstract entities can't be composed and rather the whole itself. Now, I've got a question. Would we then say, for example, evangelical beings are not comprised of parts, not composed themselves, ontologically simple, as it were? Now, secondly, we have instances of metaphysical parts and wholes. For example, equations. These are abstract entities, as you would agree, or even conventions, still abstract entities, which are still comprised of parts. Now, my defense of my account of merology, that parts are simply less than the whole itself, is that if you're picking something out which is less than the whole, it means that you're not identifying the whole itself, therefore you're identifying something that's less than the whole, i.e. a part. Now, notice how he just equivocated on my labeling of my position, but rhetorically speaking, you've only done this to obfuscate from my argument. Now, where within this critique of Allah do I have to presuppose the Christian position in order for my critique to be valid? Nowhere. So of course then you're just going to equivocate on my position for the sake of not discussion or engaging with your position, defending the entity which you believe is your God. And again, notice that I don't need notes either. And again, you're not putting your hands in your pockets.
30 seconds.
Yeah. Just respond to the argument.
I did say
You
I was
don't,
going to put my hands in my pockets. You said that. You lied. Okay, so, you ready, yeah? So he didn't deal with the merological parts part. He just said if you have evangelist being or something, what's that got to do with
Angels.
Huh?
Angels. Angels don't call...
Wait,
Well, no, because...
let me explain. Go on.
And I just want to say, would you then go on to say that?
No, not question time. I'm just.
No, that's what. No,
Everybody-
what I said in my arguments. I'm not pulling anything new here. Is that you believe that angels or devils would they be simple? Would they not be composed of parts?
this is not part for you to expand your argument.
That's literally what I said.
No, it's not.
That's literally what I said.
Why are you repeating yourself?
Because these
Why are you
entities don't
repeating yourself?
concretely exist.
That's exactly what you said. Okay.
You want to start, yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Alright, go on.
Okay. So again, he didn't deal with any of the problems that I raised up here. In regards to the mereological parts, he hasn't justified why we should believe in this mereological parts. Yeah, that attributes such as mercy, love, and all this makes a part of God. He has to get that off the ground. There are many positions which say that this is not a part. For me to agree with his mereological part, he has to give a strong argument. There are many things, for example, Ibn Taymiyyah's position is that these things are qa'im bidatihi, they subsist within the essence, the attributes. So he had to show how things which are subsistent in their attributes make a part. Ibn Taymiyyah, he says here that these things are not mufarika, it's not like Lego, you can take it apart and take it in. And this is one of the attributes or definitions of part the Sifatiyya used to give in Islamic models of God. So he has to again take his argument off the ground to suggest that God is composed. And he didn't even make the argument clear. I made it clear for you guys. He's trying to argue that God is part, and that part makes a composition, and God is dependent on those parts. Thus, he is not, or does not have aseity.
I mean, that.
Yeah? You got 30 seconds left.
Huh? Oh, go for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, he hasn't dealt with my questions, yeah?
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to say there's two things. I'm going to give him the argument of Enomian, yeah? He said that my question to him, yeah, to clarify something, are the distinctions between the persons, are there real distinctions? I want him to at least one question today, please. One question, guys. Are the distinctions in the Trinity between the Father, Son, and Spirit, are there real distinctions?
Cool. Time.
Okay, cool. So firstly, we're going to stick on Tawheed. Then we're going to talk about God. Because very, very clearly within the discussion to which you agreed to, it is the premise that we are going to discuss on Islam. Then once the discussion is concluded, we'll then talk on Christianity. So, firstly, I did give an account of mereology. Even if you want to say that these are abstract descriptions, firstly, I don't know what that means. Are you still picking out something which is part in the whole itself? Now, Ibn Taymiyyah's position is that these are inseparable from the whole itself. It's not something which you can take apart from the whole, but you're still identifying something which is valued less than the whole itself. When you say that Allah possesses the attribute of love, you're still picking out something from the whole which is less than the whole itself. Take for example, again, he appealed to the audience insofar as saying that this is a very complex discussion. So let me appeal to the audience very quickly. Let's just take this as a circle. I say Allah possesses love. This is still going to be identifying a speck within the circle itself as a part itself. So saying it's inseparable does not go so far as removing the argument as so far as saying that composition, even if it is inseparable from the whole itself, leads to the fact that Allah is not the first act, because therefore he's composing himself. That is the first action within God. Now, I noticed that you didn't answer my question. Do you believe that angels are ontologically simple? Because according to you, these entities not physically existing would not possess parts. Secondly, would you not agree that there are metaphysical parts, for example, equations? These are things which are composed of parts, but they abstractly exist.
20 seconds.
So I want you to go back to what I initially said on my defense of what a part and a whole is. Secondly, I think being inseparable from the whole itself is a non sequitur within Allah's composition. And thirdly, I want you to answer the initial question I gave you.
Okay, so this... Oh, sorry. Can I start?
Yeah, excited.
Thanks a lot. Okay, so this discussion agreed between us, and it should be on camera, visible for everyone to see, is a discussion not between a jack in the box and a Muslim. I use that term specifically. It's between a Christian who claimed he is a classical theist, but then said he's a neo-classical theist. So to this point, we still don't know what he is. It's between a Christian and a Muslim. Now, he tried to get his argument off the ground with composition, saying God is composite. He didn't make it clear for everyone to understand. But in order for him to say that God is composite, he needs to say that God is made of parts. So then he appealed to mereological parts. My point is that we didn't agree with this definition of a part-whole distinction. I asked him a question quite clearly. Is the distinction between the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, are there real distinctions? You notice he did not answer that question. When I made the first part of my discussion, he asked me, what is the definition of classical theism? I gave 4 answers. And he said, no, it's not like that. And then we got the Cambridge Dictionary out of philosophy and at university, and it said exactly what I said. Again, he did not engage with what I said. He ran away, which is fine. As he said it's 16. I understand these topics are a bit dense, so I understand exactly what I'm saying. So anyway, I want him to answer the question quite simply. Yeah, is the distinctions between the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, are they real? If he says they are real, then you have
30 seconds.
You have complexity. You have complexity.
Thank you,
young Bob.
Within
Love you,
this
man.
divine
Price is good.
head, which is supposed to be simple. If he says no, there is no distinction. All the difference between the Father, Son, and the Spirit goes away, and you end up in modalism. So on one hand, you're tritheist, on the other hand, you're modalist. I want him to
10
answer
seconds.
this. This is the eunomian argument, also Haskell's argument. I would like him to answer these two questions along with the distinctions of
So,
persons.
That's perfect.
I will very easily give an account of emanation according to the Eastern Orthodox tradition if you engage with the initial topic at hand. Now, again, back to the argument. He said that Islam can be proven to be true based on its own merits and provide a justification while there's no logical contradictions within his position. We're talking about mereology and how if this applies, my definition of mereology, parthood, if it applied to Allah, it means he's composite. I've already provided justification. So, here's the agreement. If he talks about the few questions that I gave him initially, I will talk about the account of emanation and how the three persons are individualized within the Trinity after the fact, because Islam can be proven of its own merits, not being that just because this account of mereology according to the Trinity falls short and demonstrates that the Trinity is composite, therefore we should not take this to Allah, because Allah is proven to be true whilst the Trinity of its own merits is proven to be false. So don't be a coward, engage with what we're actually talking about. Do you firstly believe that angels are ontologically simple, not composed of parts? Secondly, these attributes being abstract descriptors, that means still that they're picking out something less than the whole itself, even if it's inseparable from the whole. That still leads to the issue of composition. Although it's inseparable from the whole itself, it's still composite as so far as it is comprised of things that are less than the whole itself. Now, the reason why I hold to this account of mereology is because if you have something that's less than the whole, then it's not being identified as the whole itself, therefore they are something which we refer to as a part. Fourthly, we have metaphysical wholes.
30 seconds.
Metaphysical parts like equations, abstract entities which are comprised of numbers coming to a conclusion of another number, which means they are composite. So, I agree that we'll talk about the emanation of the Trinity within a moment, if you respond to the arguments against Allah. If you don't, I'll consider you a coward to your own religion and more concerned about the issues of Christianity than is Islam.
Time.
Okay, notice all the gimmicks he's pulling out of their hats. We agree that we're not going to speak about one thing, we're going to speak about two things. I say don't be a jack in the box, one can go to the beginning, and this is the agreement we move forward in this discussion about. He's trying to change it now. No, you're not a jack in the box, you are Christian, don't shy away. If you run away, it means that you are the coward. I've answered mereological parts, it does not cover abstract things. Now, I don't hold to abstract, but what my point is, abstract entities or as descriptors, I never said that, he just came up with that. I believe that they are real attributes.
Literally quoted Ibn Taymiyyah and saying that abstract entities.
Attributes of Allah are real attributes.
Literally
But
quoted
he
Ibn
makes
Taymiyyah, he's
assumptions
disagreeing
of
with
this.
them.
So anyway, part meaning, again, he hasn't lifted his argument off the ground to say God is composite. He hasn't given us a
Are you
good reason
messaging on
to believe.
WhatsApp? You're messaging on WhatsApp.
Yo, brother.
No, hold on. He's just messaging people on WhatsApp with their arguments.
Wait,
David, come here.
No, you're not.
No. What is this WhatsApp?
No, he's not. Now look, come here. You're the mediator. Come.
Are you?
Come.
Would
No,
you-
this is fair though. This is fair though.
Is it fair?
No,
He's on WhatsApp. He's on WhatsApp.
What does it say?
Expenses.
And that between who?
Wife.
And?
Well,
And
why
now
are you writing
have
down
I
the-
written anything? Said anything?
Pardon me.
No,
Nothing.
exactly.
Nothing.
These are my notes. Now say sorry.
On WhatsApp.
So sorry.
That's just
Say
2
sorry.
minutes
On
though.
WhatsApp.
That's just 2 minutes.
No. He has to.
Hold on. So
He has to now. No, he has to apologize. No. These are my notes, mate.
Well, he can hit his notes. How's that
No,
work?
he has to say sorry
No, he
for
doesn't.
disturbing.
Don't
And he has to say sorry.
But you know it's wrong.
But no,
it's
if there's an okay, so
He did interrupt
you just complained. Okay, you just complained that I'm interrupting.
You know, I just explain the Holy Spirit. You know, I just
There's
explain.
evidence.
You know, I just explain it.
If the idea
Start
is
the time
that
again.
you can't do anything,
But it's not
and you have
fair.
to- wait a second. If
Even
the
media
idea is that you have to
just
stand
telling
still,
them it's
and you can't do anything during your time,
look at
you
this
can't
guy.
get.
Dodgy day.
Then why?
I looked at a glimpse.
It's his 2 minutes.
I'm just gonna
No,
wait.
this is between me and my wife. It's not for your eyes. This is notes.
What,
You know
do
you're
you talk
wrong.
to your wife
Wait.
about parts?
Can you see me send? There's a message being sent. Yes or no?
I mean, they're all deleted messages.
No. Look at the time they deleted. What time is it now?
I mean, fair.
No,
but-
no. Say sorry.
I'm not going to say
You're
sorry.
not going to because it's your Christian ethics.
Okay.
Yeah. You're wrong.
Please clarify that. That wasn't clarified. So how can I know that?
So this is
Please
the
clarify
last
that.
part because it's going to go on and ad infinitum. Yeah.
Let me just say that. Well, hold on.
If there's an accusation-
In your 2 minutes, you are allocated 2 minutes. You can do whatever you want in those 2 minutes.
So I can speak to David in those 2 minutes.
You can.
No, you can't.
So is he allowed to talk on WhatsApp?
But you know,
Can I just?
Wait,
I've had 3 people speak for the sake of me. I've had you.
See what you've done.
Can I speak?
The
Can
moment I
speak
came
for
in, you told me
myself?
don't interrupt.
Can
me.
I speak for myself? Can I speak for myself?
Take a phone.
You had to do that on purpose.
So, there are 3 people currently speaking on behalf of me. Very simply, if there's an accusation that someone is using illegal communication within...
Who made it illegal? Who made it illegal?
Am I allowed to talk to David? Would I be able to call David on the discussion? Text him.
It's a debate.
Yeah?
But you don't.
One moment. That's actually crazy. If I may start very quickly. So, where all this begins is that Hamza has a talk with Ish 2 weeks ago. In that talk, Hamza displays how inept he is at his own subject matter. Hamza suddenly thinks that philosophy is no longer haram. So now he's capable of actually interacting with philosophy. So he's attacking the position of classical theism. The idea that God is simple, has no parts, doesn't change. Simple as that. Now, Hamza doesn't know anything, which is why he needs notes. Now, the argument that he made with Ish was as follows. First of all, he failed to understand what an essential quality of God is, and then what a hypostatic quality is.
Yeah, cheers, man.
He assumed that the
have
two
no argument.
were interchangeable.
Yeah.
So because of that, he then ran into an issue where he then claimed that because he doesn't understand what a hypostatic and essential quality is, therefore somehow that entails that if God is pure act under the position of classical theism, so act is purist, aka he has no potential, no emotions, no change, that would then mean that when he creates the world, he is doing so out of the lack of will. He is forced to do so because the action of creation, which is eternal, has to be actualized. So he can't choose to create the world, he can only actualize creating the world. That is false. And I tried to challenge him on this yesterday.
You could just
and he
argue.
ran.
You can just argue there's no real distinction between passive and active potency, which I kind of hold to. But look, so the discussion was on Allah's composition. I don't know how much the camera picked up, but we exclusively agreed to be speaking on this issue, then agree to then set another time to discuss on the Trinity, because of course our religions have a rich tradition. So of course it's going to be difficult to speak out both at the same time. Now, as you can notice, I'm staying perfectly quiet. I've rarely ever interrupted. If I interrupted, curse my tongue. Now, the only reason I did interrupt towards the end is because I saw that he was writing things on WhatsApp to a group chat.
It don't matter.
Now, you agree that I shouldn't be speaking to David during a debate. So why is it not also true?
Be a Christian and tell the truth.
That
When
was
you are
true.
given 2 minutes, you are allowed to do whatever you want. As
Can I
the
speak?
speaker.
So you can have this debate, and I am being fair, and so much fair that you can have this discussion with David whilst I round up the discussion by myself. So, firstly, he gave a definition of mereology by Ibn Taymiyyah, saying that attributes are inseparable from the whole and abstract descriptors, and that parts can only be within concrete particulars, something that really exists physically. Now, if this is true, does this then mean angels and devils, which don't physically exist, are ontologically simple, not composed of parts? I think that's just kind of a weird position to hold to, and I don't think this is traditionally found within the Sunni tradition. Secondly, even if these are abstract descriptors or something that's inseparable from the whole, when you're still outlining this part, this is still going to be something which is less than the whole itself. I don't know what's going on there, but very quickly, to address his argument, we hold to, within the Eastern Orthodox tradition, we hold to the position that the parts within Allah... Do you want me to go? Okay, the parts within... that the 3 persons within the Trinity are notionally distinct. That being that the notions before the mind are what sets the 3 persons apart. Now, I'm going to go see what's over there, but God bless.